Hello and welcome to Favorite Rugby Beyond Favorite Sports for today's New Zealand press conference reaction and very interesting couple of segments from a press conference that happened on Tuesday that I thought I'd have a little bit of time. I'm going to sit down to go through with regards to exactly what's going to happen this weekend. It is quarter-final time, obviously, Ireland versus New Zealand, and we do have a New Zealand team announcement today, actually. So keep an eye out for that. We will have the press conference as the last conferences from the players as well. So lots to look forward to with regards to that. But in terms of what was said, which we're going to go through, we're going to get some quotes from the likes of Aaron Smith, um, Rieko Ioane, as well as New Zealand forwards coach Jason Ryan. He was a very interesting person to chat to last week. We were in that press conference. So I just thought I'd go through some of the quotes, sort of see exactly where the sort of the minds are over there and in the All Blacks camp before we go to the All Blacks camp today itself and see exactly what is happening over there. Before I do, please do smash the like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So Jason Ryan, and obviously the big sort of question has been Joe Schmidt, who is obviously coached a lot in Ireland and knows the Ireland team very, very well. So he is New Zealand born, and then Ireland and been in Ireland. Well, coached in Ireland for it was close on 10 years, I think it was about. Was very much embedded in Irish in Ireland rugby and knows a lot of both. So he's definitely going to be a bit of a trump card within the New Zealand camp in terms of understanding Ireland rugby because he left Ireland, the actual Irish Ireland setup in 2019. So he was there for about 6 years, I think. So yeah, he was also asked about that, and Jason Ryan said that Joe's been great in driving our game and what we can do better. He said he has really challenged the group as well as all his coaches and how the All Blacks can be better. So there hasn't been any of that chat, to be fair. Nonsense, absolutely nonsense. If you're telling me that Jason Ryan, or sorry, Joe Schmidt's not sitting in the camp saying, right, boys, this is how they do things, this is what's going to go on, this is where we could target them, then first of all, he wouldn't be a particularly good coach. You've got to be able to analyze teams. And if you're going to sit there and hold back information due to this sort of sense of loyalty, not really going to work. So there's no doubt that he's been talking a lot this week about that Ireland setup. He did clarify that Taylor Lomax is potentially available. He said that he trained yesterday, or on Tuesday rather was, and so he will be considered, which is very important for them. And yeah, so in terms of that was the only injury that they spoke about. He was then asked if Ireland and New Zealand's different approach to team selection throughout the tournament will have any effect on the game. This has been very interesting. There was actually a stat posted about playing time of players throughout tournaments. South Africa and New Zealand have rotated a lot. And if they look at the average game time, much lower than that of Ireland and France, so tended to go full strength for more of the games, and therefore sort of loaded their players a bit more. Jason Ryan said that we like to keep everyone hungry. I think it is important that everyone is competing in training, and we have to give everyone a crack in this World Cup. We are really clear on who our starting line is, and it's full steam ahead for this final. This is where you want to be. It's where the players want to be in a final. It's where you want to be as a coach, and it's where the All Blacks want to be. This opportunity we are looking forward to against the number one team in the world. He was then asked if the fear of failure is a motivator. He says that the All Blacks jersey means a lot to us. We have talked to a lot over the last few months over the legacy of the black jersey and what it means. You talk about someone like Sean Fitzpatrick. He probably set the All Blacks legacy alight with what he did. Are we scared of failure? No, but we do want to embrace the legacy and what we want to achieve. Yes, and we want to walk towards it. So I think that's a very important point. That they're not scared of failure. That people aside, and this is why a lot of people are putting a lot of pressure on Ireland because they've never won a quarter final in the World Cup. They've never really been World Cup contenders. They're number one side in the world and have been for a few years now. And there's a big fear of failure in that camp. They can deny it, but there definitely is. For the first time here, this New Zealand side are almost not expected to win the World Cup. So I don't think they've got that sort of fear of failure that they necessarily had before, where they were kind of expected to win everything. But I think they've also that fear of being labeled a really bad All Black side, which you don't want to be. I think that whole point about the All Black legacy is very, very important. It was then Aaron Smith's turn, and he was asked about the rivalry with Ireland. He said that my whole All Black career, I've had very tough encounters against Ireland. They are who I debuted against, so some fond memories for me. Ups and downs, wins and losses, but they are a great team. They're the best team in the world, and we are just really excited about the challenge. He was asked about if there'll be some beers afterwards. He said, I think there was mutual respect there for sure. Jersey changes. Obviously, there's a lot of experience in both groups. Guys who have played each other a lot. So I'd say there will be a little bit of mingling, but I think everyone knows the stakes of what is riding on the game. I know in 2019 it was quite good camaraderie afterwards, connecting. I wouldn't call it a hatred or anything like that. There's definite mutual respect, two proud nations, happiness and pain for how the result goes. He was then asked about the Test series that they lost. He said last year matters in the sense of taking the learnings, but I believe we are a totally different team to July last year. I think they are, to be fair. We have new coaches as a group. The series really galvanized us, and I can't wait for Saturday. Yeah, they've brought in some very good coaches since then that have definitely made a big change. I think Joe Schmidt coming in, Jason Ryan have definitely changed the side a lot. He was then asked also about the fear of failure. And he said that my energy is pushed more towards the opportunity that is in front of us, the excitement of what we can control as a group. If you're held down by the weight of the past, you won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to play well. You'll be too scared to try anything, to trust your instincts, being free, being energized with intent, and there's plenty of intent for this weekend. I don't think there's the burden or the statistics or the weight on us like that. It is a final at a World Cup for us, and we are ready to go. Um, he was then asked if this is about getting revenge. He says, I don't see it as that. He says, my answer will be quite boring. I see it as a chance to take on the best team in the world at the World Cup. Um, he was then asked if he's happy New Zealand are playing Ireland in the quarterfinal. He says, it's how the cards fell, and yeah, I'm happy. So be very diplomatic. Rieko Ioane was then asked about the Joe Schmidt influence. He says Joe sees the game in a very detailed view. I think, especially with us backs, working out trends in other teams' attack and defense is what separates him and the detail he goes into. I think for us, trying to find those one set per centers can be quite hard. But with Joe, he makes the view of the game a lot easier by the way he understands it. He has definitely helped us quite a bit. He was then also asked about the fear of failure as a motivator. He has said, we are never scared to lose. If there are any questions on our belief, it is unwavering because we know that we are what we have in this group. For myself, the fear of losing doesn't ever cross my mind. When the motivation of this group has and the energy we thrive off and each other is motivation enough. We don't like to take a glass half empty view on things. It's pretty mundane questions, really, to ask every single player about the fear of failure. They very clearly apparently don't fear failure. I think they do to a certain degree. I think especially like an Aaron Smith, for example, he's been part of the great All Blacks teams. He knows he's not part of that era anymore. And you don't want to be the All Blacks team, which kind of sort of tarnished the legacy, which I don't think this team is necessarily doing. But yeah, it's not the strongest All Black side we've ever seen, but it's capable of winning a World Cup. And if this side, who inverted commas are not the best All Black side, they can go on to win the World Cup, what does that mean for the All Black legacy? But they don't go on to win the World Cup, for example, and they go out in the quarterfinals. It's kind of progressive steps back, from winning a World Cup to out in the semis to out in the quarterfinals. They've lost a pool stage for the first time ever, so it would be a really bad campaign for them. So there must be a certain amount of fear of failure. But again, I think I agree with what they're saying. You can't think too much on that. If you go in that with that fear of failure, that fear of losing, you often do lose. So it's about a mental thing about how you can get over that fear of failure and really give it your all. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon.